From LinkedIn News, I'm Leah Smart, host of Everyday Better, an award-winning podcast dedicated to personal development. Join me every week for captivating stories and research to find more fulfillment in your work and personal life. Listen to Everyday Better on the LinkedIn Podcast Network, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
From LinkedIn News, I'm Jessie Hempel, host of the Hello Monday podcast. Start your week with the Hello Monday podcast. We'll navigate career pivots. We'll learn where happiness fits in. Listen to Hello Monday with me, Jessie Hempel, on the LinkedIn Podcast Network or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everyone, and welcome to our throwback episode. In our throwback episodes, we are reintroducing you to some of our most popular episodes. This is great for new listeners who want to learn more about the work we've done in the past, and it's a great refresher if you've been a listener for a long time. Enjoy. All right, we are here with Pat Flynn, one of my, I call him distance mentor. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so can you tell us a little bit about how you've used negotiation or persuasion techniques in your business?
You know, I'm probably not as purposeful as a lot of people think in terms of, those kinds of techniques. I just go with the flow. I try to go to natural progression in terms of if I'm making a sale, I want to build a relationship first. And I always try to get it to a point where the other person wants more from me. And the way I do that is just by providing over-the-top value at the front end. You know this because you listen to the podcast, and I always try to write epic posts on my blog to just make people want to give back for what I've already given them. And in that way, it just makes it really easy for me to recommend items. I've earned that trust and built that authority over time by doing that over and over and over and over again. I mean, I've been doing this for 8 years, and now I'm at a point where people are coming to me without even asking and saying, "Hey, Pat, when's your next product coming out? I want to buy it." And they don't even know what it is. Yeah. And I love that. And I think that's, at least for me, that's my style, that's my approach, and it's worked, and I'm going to continue to do it that way.
That's great. As a listener, an avid listener, I remember one of the stories about how you first got into advertising for your podcast. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. I mean, that was a while back when I was just starting out. For those of you who don't know my story, I got laid off from the architecture industry. And I survived by building a business helping people pass an exam in the architecture industry. So I built this website, and I had sold study guides and whatnot. But even before that, my first few dollars that I earned online was through advertising. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't go to business school. I didn't have any formal training or anything like this. I was figuring things out along the way. And so I had the site. It had a good amount of traffic, actually, because I had, like I said earlier, provided a lot of free value. A lot of people were sharing this site, which had free information on how to pass this exam. And then I got contacted by a company that was like, "Pat, we love your site. We know there's a lot of people there. We have this product that can also help people. It's going to help them through practice exams," which I didn't have. And I was like, well, this is a perfect partnership. And they were like, "Oh, we want to pay you to place a 150 by 150 pixel on your site." And I was like, okay, I don't even know how big that is. Like, this is how rookie I was at that time. Like, okay. And then I was like, well, that's a really small thing. And they were asking me what the price point was. And I was like, just literally, first thing that came to mind, I was like, okay, so for the whole month, $50. And I was like, I thought that was a lot at the time. And of course they said yes. And it ended up becoming one of their most successful ad campaigns.
Wow.
Probably because it was only $50 for them.
Right.
But then the next month, actually, I was very fortunate to be working with this company because they were a small business too, just like I was. And they were really helpful to me. So they told me, "Pat, like, this isn't normally done in business. I mean, we're getting a great deal from you, but you're completely undercharging us. Can you please, like, figure out, we want you to survive because your site is great. So, you might want to rethink your price point." So then I moved it up to $100. I was like, okay, double. That's asking for a lot. And they're like, no. Okay. And then they gave me, like, we were on a call, and they were, the guy, the CEO, Scott, he was giving me the rundown, and, I ended up charging him $300 a month, but then I gave him a little bit of a deal if he stayed on longer. Mm-hmm. So I ended up, after the first couple months of doing ads with him, then it jumped to about $1,000 for 3 months worth of, or 4 months worth of ads on the site, just for a little 150 by 150 pixel. And, and that's what really got the rush for me in the beginning before I started to sell product. I started to reach out to other companies and negotiate from there. And I knew from my previous experience and the advice that I was given to charge much higher. And I ended up getting to a point where I just kept testing, like, how far can I go?
Yeah.
400, 500 a month, 600 a month. People just kept saying yes. And pricing specifically is a difficult topic for people, I think, but you also have to understand the value that you're providing. And that's the one thing I didn't understand. I didn't understand how valuable that traffic was on my site until I was told. So it was a good experience. It was something that I've learned and I remember. So thank you for helping me remind that everybody of that story.
Yeah, no problem. I think it's really instructive. And honestly, from the other side, too, from the other businesses' perspective, because a lot of times when people think about negotiation, they just think about how much more can I get?
The immediate result.
Yeah. And from their point of view, they really cared about you and wanted to build a relationship.
Exactly. And still to this day, we are partners. I'm now not serving ads, but I'm an affiliate for them. Mm-hmm. And every month I send, hundreds of customers their way. And they're happy to link back to my site too, which helps both of us out for search engine optimization and whatnot. The relationships that we build in our businesses is really, really important. Obviously, as you could see.
Right. Let me ask you this question: If they wouldn't have told you that $50 was too cheap, and they just kept on going with $50 for maybe the next few months, maybe even a year, I don't know. What would your relationship be with them right now?
I mean, I feel like I would still support them.
Okay.
Maybe I wouldn't get to a point where I would have dinner with these people, which I've done before.
Yeah.
It's gotten to that level, but I wouldn't have known. But I think I probably would have figured it out eventually because I've been able to connect with a lot of other entrepreneurs who more than likely would have told me that I was undercharging too, based on their experience. So that's another big thing for me. I'm in 2 different mastermind groups where I learn from other people's experiences, and we're all brutally honest with each other. We hold each other accountable, and we share each other's goals. And, I'm there to be brutally honest and hold people accountable too in these groups. So I'm in 2 of them that meet every single week. And by far, I've learned the most in those groups.
Wow. So for somebody in your position now, I would imagine there are a lot of opportunities coming your way, people trying to get in your ear and all the time.
All the time.
So how do you determine which opportunities are good for you and which are bad?
Yeah, I mean, there's several different kinds of opportunities. There are speaking opportunities, for example. But the most requested, I guess you could call, opportunity is what's known as a JV partnership or some sort of affiliate relationship where people, similar to the exam story, people know that I have a lot of traffic and they want to get in front of it. And there's obviously different ways to do that now with my business that I currently have through the blog, through the podcast, like sponsorships and whatnot, and also a YouTube channel, and even my social media channels are quite big now, so people want to get in front of those audiences. So the big question is, well, how do I understand who to say yes to and who to say no to, right? For me, I've just made it really easy for myself. I only recommend and promote other companies that I've used before.
Brace the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/marketer. Terms and conditions apply.
I like it.
And it makes it very simple for me to say no, which is one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah.
And it also makes it very good for the people who are listening to those recommendations because they know that I've been able to kind of vet this company and become almost a spokesperson for them in an honest way, not because of the money, but because of what I know that product can do. I know that the trust that we have with our audience is the most important thing in the world. And if I were to recommend a product just because it had a high commission, for example, yeah, maybe I'd make a lot of money up front. But if that product doesn't serve that person, then yeah, they're going to be angry at that product or that product owner. But you know what? That trust with me is going to be gone.
Right.
And I'm in here for the long-term game. So I have to be very careful and conscious about who I recommend, who I'm involved with, and that's how I kind of determine that. It just makes it really easy. So it's all based off of my own needs because what I do on Smart Passive Income, I build businesses and I just share how I do it. Mm-hmm. And I use a lot of tools and other tools I don't need. And I'm not going to recommend the tools that I don't need because I don't know those tools. And I feel like if you're involved in affiliate marketing, which is when you recommend another person or company's product and earn a commission from that, it's a great marketing tool. But a lot of people make the mistake of just sharing that link and sometimes not even using that product. For me, I treat those products as if they were my own. Mm-hmm. And that makes the people on the other end who are potentially going to buy it more comfortable.
Right. And so those people who reach out to you to partner up in the affiliate type of way, do you offer them like a flat commission, or is there a little bit of back and forth?
Well, they offer me, it's different. Sometimes it's a recurring payment if it's, for example, a monthly payment plan that's involved. Sometimes it's a flat fee. I've had people offer me 100% commission on an item, which you might be like, why would people give away 100% of something to you? It's because they want that lead, and they know there's more downsells or upsells down the road, right? And it's worth it to them to have that sort of loss leader up front. So, what I found that works best for me is that because I'm trying to think back of those to those relationships that started via emails that then led to, for example, promotions that I've done for people. It's always started with the relationships. A lot of that starts at conferences, just like the one we're at now. A lot of even Buzzsprout, who we're recording at their booth right now, they're awesome. They've built a relationship with me over the last couple of years, but never asked anything of me. And it wasn't until I really needed a good podcast hosting solution that I was like, hey, those guys at Buzzsprout, those guys are awesome. We've been connected in the last couple of years. They never asked for anything. I'm going to go to them now and use their product, which I am now for one of my shows. And now I'm going to promote them because they're awesome. So, it's a very organic, natural kind of thing. Other times I see a product and it's like, this is exactly what I need. But I don't jump at that very moment to then recommend it. I tell this person, hey, I'd love to pay for this first and get access to it. And a lot of times they offer it for free because they want me to go through it. But sometimes I'll pay and I'll just go through it like I'm supposed to and just see if it works or not. And if it's as good as it sounds. And if it is, then I'll talk to that person. I usually try to have a Skype call, or if we're in the same city for whatever reason, we have a coffee together. Again, I want to get to know this company and who's behind it first before I promote it to my audience. Because like I said earlier, that trust that I have with my audience is the most important thing.
Right. And I like the story you told about Buzzsprout, because they're my hosting product too. And a lot of times people think about negotiation as we sit down at a table like we're doing right now, right, and that's when the negotiation begins.
Right, like I push a piece of paper, like this is how much I want.
Exactly. It's never like that.
No.
Never. There's in my opinion, there's really no beginning and end to a negotiation. And for Buzzsprout, they didn't know what they would want you for in the future, but they realized there's value in the relationship.
Exactly. They did it right. Right.
So how do you go about building relationships now, especially since you are the Pat Flynn? Everybody wants a piece of you. How do you be intentional about which relationships you form?
I always give everybody a chance. First of all, I read every email that comes in, or I have my assistant read it and forward it to me if it's something where a partnership could potentially be formed. I go to these conferences, I go around the booths, and I meet people, just to see if there's any vibes there. And a lot of it is in the gut too. Right. It's interesting because you'll meet somebody and you would expect that because of the product that they're offering, that's like you guys would click, and for whatever reason, sometimes it just doesn't happen. And other times, you just hit it off with somebody, and then the negotiations they're happening, but you don't even know they're happening, right? It's just a natural part of the conversation, So I put myself out there. I know it's important to build relationships. Actually, if I could go back into time, if I had a DeLorean and I could go back into time, sorry, I have to always throw in a Back to the Future reference. If I could do that, I would tell myself, Pat, dude, stop being so shy, because I was one of the shyest guys ever. I would never initiate a conversation. I was always in the back of the class, would never raise my hand, never talk unless asked to. It was a big mistake, because the relationships that you build are so important. You never know that next person that you meet or introduce yourself to could be the catalyst for that success that you're looking for, or know somebody who knows somebody that can help you with that next thing that you're working on, Right. And for me, I've always learned that I don't know everything, and I have strengths and I have weaknesses, and the only way to really progress in a much faster way is to understand what those weaknesses are and find people and ask for help. And that's one of the hardest things to do. That's a part of negotiation too. It's like not asking to do like a product sale or anything like that, but it's asking for help. Yeah. And a lot of what starts that is me first providing value to others, so that when it's time for me to ask for help on something, that law of reciprocity comes into play.
Exactly. That's great. So I know we're coming up on time. So I just wanted to ask you this last question. What piece of advice would you give to entrepreneurs who are just starting off or getting to where they want to go?
The biggest tip, there's a ton of tips. I'm going through the files right now. But for me, the biggest thing is similar to what I had said earlier. Go out and put yourself out there and don't be afraid to fail and meet people and just kind of figure things out along the way. You know, too many people, especially entrepreneurs, they're perfectionists, right? And they want to work on their thing for so long and then share it with the world, where, you know, every day you don't have that thing out there providing value in the world is a day that somebody's not benefiting from what you have to offer. And perfection, I feel, is just a form of procrastination because we're scared, and that's okay. But I would also say that, you know, being scared, having that fear, that resistance that comes, especially in the beginning moments of entrepreneurship, that's a sign that this is something that is meaningful to you because you want it to work, right?
Right.
So just keep going, keep failing. As long as you're falling forward, you're always making progress.
I like it. Thank you so much for chatting with me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Congratulations! You've just joined an elite club. By listening to a full episode, you're now officially on the Negotiate Anything team. So welcome aboard. What most team members do is they subscribe to the podcast because that allows them to automatically get the latest episodes of the show. The best things in life lie on the other side of difficult conversations. Keep learning, keep practicing, and keep getting better. Your relationships will improve, your career will soar, and you'll have the confidence you need to get the most out of these crucial conversations. Again, thank you for joining the team. We're excited to have you, and I will see you in the next episode. I'll catch you later.